Hello, I'm Dan from ACV Rentals and Sales, and right behind me is our stock number 7, a 2021 Jayco Redhawk 31F. Today I'm going to be showing you all the appliances outside, inside, so you'll know exactly what to do when you come rent this. So starting off on the driver's side here, we have a little height sticker. It's 12.5 feet tall, this RV. So that means places like parking garages, drive-thrus, gotta be careful of those. Also, most tunnels you're going through should be okay unless you're going to like New York City or whatever. But yeah, you should be good. Just be wary of the height here. Down here you've got the generator. So the generator is kind of like a substitute for when you're not plugged into the RV. This is going to run on the engine gas. So long as you're at least a quarter tank full of gas, you should expect this to work. This will work inside. Start and stop will be inside. The only reason you're going to have to come out here, unless there's some kind of service issue, is if you run the AC and the microwave at the same time. In the case that you do that, the generator will trip, and there's going to be a little breaker out here that you're going to have to flip. You're just going to take the top off here, and right over here, there's a small switch. When you do run the AC and the microwave at the same time, this will flip back like that. So all you have to do, come out here, take the top off, flip it towards you like that. Apart from that, everything else can be handled inside the RV. So the generator is going to be for your major electrical appliances in the RV. That'll be your TV, your microwave, AC, the outlets. Again, this is a substitute for when you're not plugged in. We recommend you have the generator on for no more than 3 hours at a time, then about 3 hours off before switching it back on for 3 hours or so. Next up here, you just have some storage. This Jayco has a lot of storage compartments on the outside. And next to that, we have the power cord cabinet. This is how you're going to plug in your RV at the campsite. So you have this long power cord right here. This is about 30 amps. Well, not about. This is exactly 30 amps. We'll also give you a 15 amp adapter just in case your campsite, wherever you're plugged in, doesn't have 30 amp connection. You also have outlets out here. This will be they'll be powered when you're plugged in or the generator is running. So all you have to do is just plug this into wherever you are at your campsite, and all the electrical appliances, as I said before, with the generator will work. So you won't have to worry about the generator at all when you're plugged in. Right above the power cord is the furnace exhaust. Just don't touch it. Expect it to be hot. Just be cautious of this is all there is to it. Now in the back of the driver's side, you have the dumping area. So you see these two valves here in the opening right here. You just take the sewer hose we give you. Just going to clip it on clockwise here with the stubs, and then you're going to take this part with the 90-degree elbow and stick this in the ground at your campsite or wherever else you're dumping. Then you have two valves here. You have your gray water valve and your black water valve. The gray valve is going to be for your sinks and your shower, and the black is going to be for your toilet. Once it's pulled out like this, that means it's open, so if there were anything in the tanks right now, stuff would be coming out here. We recommend you pull out the black one first, then the gray one to kind of flush it out. And there will be sensors inside the RV to tell you how full the tanks are. Once you're done, you just push them in, unclip the sewer hose, stick it back in the bag, and you're all good to go. Over here is how you're going to fill up your fuel. This is just regular gas, no diesel, no premium, anything like that. You can go to regular gas stations if you feel comfortable with the size of the RV. If not, you can go to truck stations, fill it up that way. In the back here, you have a little compartment, and this does look kind of complicated, but I'll run you through it so you'll be comfortable with this. Here you have two valves. They will be numbered from 1 to 3 for the first valve and 4 to 6 for the second valve. You have 6 options here, 6 settings, but you really only have to worry about 3 of them. This setting, when this is set to 3 and this is set to 5, this is the normal setting. In other words, if you were on the road and you just want to take water out of the sink, for example, you just have it set by this when you're driving. If you're at a campsite and you want to take it directly into the pipes from their water and not your own tank, you're going to go to city fixtures. That's 2 and 6. That way, when you hook up the water hose, you'll take the water from the campsite. If you want to fill up your freshwater tank, you're going to use country fill here. Set this to 1 and set this to 4, hook up the water, and you'll fill up your tank. So those are the only things you have to worry about. The city fixtures 2 and 6, the country fill 1 and 4, and normal 3 and 5, which will set it just like this. This here is the tank flush valve. You won't have to worry about this. This is just for us when you get back. This here says city water connection, which is where we're gonna hook up that white hose I showed you. This is gonna be corresponding to this. Here's just a light. You got the water pump here. You can turn this on inside. And you have an outside shower right here. So let's say you're at the beach and you want to wash off the sand before you get inside. You can just wash it off here. Coming around back, you have two things to worry about here, or rather not worry about. You have the ladder right here. This will be to get up to the roof, but you won't have to worry about that. That's just for service repairs. So please don't climb the roof. And in the back here, that little black rectangle is the rear view camera. So this will go out about 7 or 8 feet. You can leave this on when you're driving as well, but otherwise, when you put it in reverse, it'll turn on. Over on the passenger side, you have a few more compartments. This here is just probably the biggest storage compartment, definitely. And right below that, you have a little propane outlet. This is going to connect to the RV's propane, so you have an external grill at your campsite. You can hook it up here and it'll take it from the RV. And now that we're done with the outside of the RV, we can head inside here. Got a little power step right here. First things first, when you step inside the RV, you have these little switches down here. So this here is just for the speaker. Once you have the radio on in your RV, you can switch it from the inside speakers to the outside speakers. You have the power step. You can leave that on. That just means when you open the RV, the step will come out. The awning light is the LED for the awning. We'll show you that in just a second. And you have the main power here. This is going to mean that the battery will run on. The battery is going to be under the step here. It's going to be for very minor electrical things like the lights or the fans, so you won't have to turn on the generator just to turn on the light. But I can show you the awning right here. You just hold this, it'll come out. Now the awning will come out about 8 feet total, and it's really only for shade, so you should turn it in when it gets windy or rainy. This is going to run on the house battery, as I just said, so you won't have to have the generator on, or you won't have to be plugged in for this to work. Now probably the most important part of the inside of the RV is the control panel right here once you step inside. I have quite a few things that'll tell you stuff about the RV. Right up here is the generator hours. This is going to be how many hours the generator has been running total for this RV. If you do want to start the generator, you hold down stop here first to prime it until this red light turns on. Then you hold down start. There you go. In order for things to start working in the RV, you'll have to wait anywhere between 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Once the microwave beeps, you'll know that everything will be powered. Over here you have the slide out extension. This is going to run on the house battery like the awning. I already held it out to extend it. You can see that everything here is out. If you do want to pull it back in, you just hold down retract here and it'll bring it back in. And there's the microwave. Just remember, for the slide out and for the awning, make sure the keys are out of the ignition. That's just a safety precaution built into the RV. Right here you have all the levels of the tanks. You have the battery, how full it's charged. If you hold down fresh, that's the fresh water tank. You can see that's 2/3 and 1/3. You have the black tank and the gray tank we saw were empty and open outside. Down here you have the tank heaters. In the summer you won't have to worry about this, but in the winter when it gets cold, in order to prevent the tanks from freezing, you just turn this on. The water pump, once you turn this on, you'll be able to get water from any of the faucets. We recommend you have this off though when you're driving, just in case the faucet opens, you want all the water leaking out. And here's the water heater I was talking to you about outside. You can turn this on with the propane gas, that's what LP is, liquid propane. Once you turn this on, it'll turn on the propane water heater, and it'll take no more than 20 minutes to heat up the water. If you are plugged in, at a 30 amp campsite, you can turn on electric instead. Same amount of time, 20 minutes to heat up your water. Over here on the passenger side, you have the fridge. The fridge is going to run on the propane when you're not plugged in, and when you are plugged in, it's going to automatically switch over to the 30 amp connection. You have your fridge right here, and the freezer right here. It hasn't been on, so it's not cold right now, but if you do want to turn it on, the settings are right here. You just hold down the power button. This shows how cold it is, so you can keep it at 5 snowflakes. And the mode, A means it's automatic. This here means it's running on electricity. You can switch it over to the teardrop, which is propane. But you can keep it on A, and it'll keep it on automatic. Just some more cabinet space. For safety reasons, you have a carbon monoxide and propane detector down here. And up here you have the exterior and interior lights, more lights, and then this here is the AC control panel. This is going to run again on the generator or when you're plugged in, and remember, AC and the microwave not at the same time. If you want to turn it on, you just make sure turn it to fan first, then turn it to cool, and if it's in the winter time, you can turn it on heat instead. The heat is going to run with the propane and the house battery, so you won't have to be plugged in for the heat. If you want to use the AC and the cooling, you will have to be plugged in, or you have to use the generator. And this just controls how high or low the power. Temperature right here, pretty simple and straightforward. Over here you have a little sofa sitting area, but this also turns into a bed. All you have to do is just take these Velcro cushions off really quick, and this will pull open like a futon. You just take the little metal bar down here, pull it out like this, and then you just put these back in. And there you have it. Like the sofa, this dinette area also turns into a bed. All you have to do is just take these cushions out. Once you have all the cushions down, you just lift up the table, then it'll swing down here. Just like that. And this is your completed bed. So that's 2 extra sleeping spots for you. Next up here, you've got the kitchen area. Most of it is self-explanatory, just like a regular kitchen. For example, the sink here, we just like to keep the turntable for the microwave and the sink, just in case the microwave, the latch is just plastic, sometimes it might break. Rarely, but it does happen. As far as the sink goes, you just turn it on, make sure the water pump is on, water will come out. You have a little extra cutting board, extra kitchen area right here. Just lift this up here and snap it down. You have some more storage area. You keep the remotes in here for the TVs. Just match the logo to the TV. You should be good. More storage here. And more storage below the sink. Above here, just a regular house microwave. Again, make sure generator or you're plugged in for this to work. And the AC in the microwave, not at the same time when you're on the generator. Just lights and fans for the stove. As far as the stove goes, you just take this glass top off. You just set it to the fire symbol here, spark it, and that's pretty much your stove. You have your oven down here. This is just the knob for the oven. And just have some lights. Once you're done with the stove, just wait a few minutes before you put the top back on, otherwise the propane gas might get stuck in there, the glass might shatter. But apart from that, you're good to go. In the back here, you have bunk beds. They each have their own TV as well, their own windows, their own lights, and they have privacy curtains as well. And more storage in the drawers down here. And all the way in the back here, you have what I like to call the master bedroom, I suppose. This one probably has the most storage. drawers all around here, cabinets, little wardrobe here for if you want to hang your clothes. There's a little pole in the top. And yep, these drawers are pretty big. Here you have your bathroom. The toilet is kind of like an airplane toilet. You just push down this little lever here and it'll flush it down. Just make sure the water pump is on for this to work. The toilet paper is RV specific. You can't use regular toilet paper. If you do need to use toilet paper, you can buy it from Walmart at the campground section, or camping stores at the campsite will have it for you as well. The shower is just like a regular shower. Just gotta open this up. And you got your faucet, hot and cold. Just pretty standard, straightforward. And lastly, you have your sink here. We'll give you these bottles. They're just solutions for the toilet. Since the toilet is directly connected to the black tank, sometimes the smell might come up. You just pour half a bottle, full bottle down there until the smell gets better, pretty much. Just a quick tip on how to find channels with the TV. First, you're going to turn on your TV, obviously. Hit input and make sure you're on the TV setting. Once you're on TV, you're going to hit menu on your remote. Most remotes like this are universal. They'll also have a menu section. Go to channels, go to auto channel search. Then you can choose how to find channels. You can use the antenna, which we're going to use right now since we're not plugged in. But if you are plugged in at your campsite, you can use the cable. So you have to do is hit antenna, and it'll find the channels for you. In the front cab here, we'll give you this little envelope which has all the documents you'll need. You have the RV manual here. You have the little envelope for your registration, and we'll give you some extra fuses for the fuse box, just in case. Now we're in the front cab. The front cab is actually built differently from the RV. This is just a regular Ford truck chassis with an RV on the back, really. So you can expect most of these things to just be like a regular truck. You have your parking brake right here. AC control is all here. Got your mirrors on the left and right side. Once you hit this panel right here, the rear view camera button, you can have it on when you're driving, or otherwise when you put it in reverse, the camera will show up. Also here you have your radio. You have Bluetooth, so if you want to hook up your smartphone. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is self-explanatory. Well, that's all I have to say for our stock number 7, this Jayco Redhawk 31F model. I've been Dan from A3 Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.